How's it going, everybody? My name is McKeever Edward Conwell II. Everybody calls me Mac, and welcome to a special end of the week edition of the Startup Mac Vlog. I have my special co-host for the day.
Hello, this is Christine Johnson. I'm the CEO and founder of Diversitech and just all-out champion of startups, minorities in tech, women in tech, youth in tech.
Yes, me and Christine have been friends for almost 3 years now.
Almost
Christine
3
was
years.
definitely a champion of mine when I first got started. And today we wanted to talk about rebuilding, the second time around, starting a new venture. Christine was definitely there to see me start my first venture, and now as I'm transitioning to my next, going through the struggles of starting over.
Yeah, so what's up with that? I saw that you posted on Facebook with Redberry with 3 R's as you corrected everyone. What's going on with Redberry?
So yes, I've started a new project called Redberry with 3 R's. It's a shopping app. It's a mobile commerce application that's it's gonna be pretty much, think about Instagram with a buy button. So you'll be able to shop through a bunch of beautiful pictures from your favorite stores and shops and boutiques and designers, and be able to purchase them right there from the experience instead of having to go through long conversations and lost leads.
How'd you get to that? What was the process to transition from no bad gift / given? What was that experience like?
The experience was it was very interesting. It happened a lot faster and seamless than I thought it would. To have a venture that doesn't do what you expect, or that fails, or doesn't do well, and that comes to an end, you kind of feel like lost, because I dedicated the last almost 4 years of my life to this one project.
Yeah.
Now it's over. And it's like, now what do I do? Do I go back and just get a regular day job? Do I try to get myself back on stable footing? And or do I, try to test the waters and see what else is out there? And I've learned through my entrepreneurial journey that you're probably going to fail more times than you succeed, but the key to that is learning all along the way. So every time you fail or make a mistake, you're learning skills so that you can succeed in the future. So I've learned way too much over the last 4 years to not do anything. So I kind of just jumped back into it.
And for real, you almost have to do something. You and I were talking about this once before. That's that entrepreneurial DNA. You have to build. You see ideas every day. You see them when you sleep. And I know for me, just figuring out where to put those energies and build and do good work, using your skills, your lessons learned, all the good and painful lessons learned. And it just takes a lot of courage. But in the end, it's like, this is who we are. We have to try and build good stuff, and go out into the world.
That's so true. Like, it's you have so many ideas and so many things you want to do. You're just always driven to try to do the next thing, and so that's just kind of what happened. I thought I was going to be a longer transition. I thought I was going to take more time off, but I kind of just jumped right back into it. And it's been an interesting process to see the difference of my first venture versus my new one. I know so much more. I have such a larger network. I have people I can reach out to. Like, it took me a year and a half before I started being able to reach out to people who were able to really help my business. This time around, I'm 6 weeks in, and I already know who to talk to and who to reach out to. So that's been interesting.
Yeah, and I think just like, sometimes people will say to me, because I do have the contacts with the funding, I do know the entrepreneurs, I'm very familiar with the landscape, because it's been like 10 plus years in general around all this startup energy, but in the end, it's still a learning process when you create that thing, and you may have all these contacts, but it's also figuring out how to utilize them. And like you have Redberry, and you know exactly what needs to be done to execute it, who to contact, and all of that. And I know for me, that's what I am in search of, like learning, like going for my lessons learned and just really figuring out how to utilize the resources that I have to build / rebuild moving forward, definitely.
Yeah, and it's definitely been interesting in the rebuilding process because I
Yeah.
know so much and I have so many contacts, but Redberry's in a different industry than Given was. So like
Yeah,
for all the stuff I know, there's still a whole bunch more for me to learn. And then
right,
it's a whole new group of contacts, a whole new group of advisors and mentors I need to meet and people I need to connect with and trying to learn
right,
that landscape and trying to become a subject expert in something that
yeah,
I'm not.
right, right. So how have you, because I know I was looking and you've been doing a lot of the tech breakfast circuit. How has that been going? I had to give you kudos for that because that's a great resource that I don't think that people thought about utilizing it in that way, but it's a great entree to different ecosystems.
So shout out to Ron Smalser and the Tech Breakfast. Tech Breakfast, for those who don't know, it's a tech showcase. They happen at 8 o'clock in the morning. He has all over the country from
Yeah.
Austin to San Francisco to Raleigh, North Carolina to Boston, Philly, New York,
Be
and
more.
Baltimore. Yes, be more. So I've done 4 so far, and I
Yeah.
pretty much use the Tech Breakfast. And Tech Breakfast is just a show and tell. It's not a pitch or
Right.
anything like that. It's just a technical showcase where you get to show and tell about your product to the local technical community. And the great part about it is there are all the different pieces of a technical ecosystem are usually in the room. So
Yes.
you'll have other entrepreneurs, you'll have developers, you'll have designers, you'll have marketers and salespeople,
Mhm.
you'll have some investors,
Mhm.
you'll have just people who just want to be connectors and mentors in the room. And
Mhm.
so uh, as we got closer to our launch, the idea of building up hype and building up the line at the door,
Yeah.
waiting for people to download your app, we wanted to take advantage of that, and so I just used it as a way to kind of put it out there and test the waters, see the way it would be received by different people in
Mhm.
the community, and
Mhm.
at every stop along the way, I've made great connections.
Man.
I've met some investors and VCs. I've met some people who run accelerators who are interested, like.
Mhm.
And I've met other entrepreneurs who are like, I want to be able to use your platform. I want to learn more about it.
Right.
So it's a really good barometer check for me to see, what's the interest, and
Yeah.
also meeting investors in other areas.
Uh-huh.
Investors hear a lot of ideas every day, and a lot of similar ideas, and you can really gauge where your idea falls in line by your conversations you have with them. So they'll let you
Mhm.
know what things they've heard and what trends they've heard, and they'll let you
Mhm.
know if what they're hearing from you is different, or if it's exactly the same.
Ah.
And they'll
Okay.
point you in the direction of 4 or 5 other startups who are doing the exact same thing with the exact
Mhm.
same pitch, or who have a different pitch. And
Mhm.
that was actually a really good barometer for me to see, especially like from some people in New York, where fashion is big, the
Right.
things that they have heard and the things they hadn't heard, and
Right.
you can kind of gauge what might set you apart from some of the other people you don't know about, some of the people you do know
Mhm.
about, and
Mhm.
learn about more competitors in your space.
Yeah, you know what? And as you were talking to the New York connection, that's a hot community for you. That's right. I hadn't even thought about that.
Yeah, New York, because of its fashion scene, is going to be really interesting for Redberry, since
Mhm.
most of the sellers we have pre-signed up are either streetwear designers or boutique owners.
Oh, wow.
So seeing how the fashion community receives us, and considering Redberry is very seller focused as opposed to being consumer focused, we're really interested in learning more from sellers. And that's another part about rebuilding. So
Yeah,
my second venture, I understand the idea of lean startup so much
so
more.
much more.
Shout out to Eric Reese and Lean Startup. If you're building a startup or about to start a project, please read that book, The Lean Startup.
Mhm.
And understand there's a difference between reading the book and actually going out and doing lean
Yes, the
startup.
practice.
So to read the
Yeah.
book and get all the theory is cool, but you actually got to go out and do it. And what I mean by that is, with our first project, me and my team were just building things that we thought were good and putting in features that we thought would work.
Mm-hmm.
With the second project, it's all about feedback from the customers and the client.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're going to be the ones who shape what our app is actually going to be. Like, I have a vision in my mind of what I think I want the app to be, but the customers and clients are going to be the ones who really shape that. Because they're going to let me know what features they want and they don't want.
Yeah.
They're going to let me know what works and what doesn't work. And if what works for them isn't something I thought about, well, that's got to go in. You got to make that work. And understanding that process has made this a different. It's been a different launch process for me. Like, we'll be launching in the next week or two, and I have so much of a better understanding of my industry and the problem I'm solving, as opposed to with my first venture when I was just kind of going through blindly.
Yeah. Yeah, and then with the whole lean startup movement and just other resources in general that are out there, I think it's important too for folks not only to take advantage and utilize that resource, read it, go online and look at the videos available that support that resource and explain things deeper and have best practices, but also to physically take your behind out in the world and go to the meetups that they have around Lean Startup, because I think those communities are important too to help reinforce that knowledge and share information between other entrepreneurs. That's something I really always advocate. We just need to, like you always talk about doing, when we talk about some entrepreneurs and I'm like, hey, can you talk to this and that person? And your main thing is like, have they created the platform? What have they done? How has it gone from the idea? So doing is not only just building physically using your equipment. Building is also going out into the world and networking with those people that know more about that resource that can reinforce the learning too.
That's so true. And knowing which communities to reach out to, knowing your local tech communities is so important. And one thing I'm learning, through this rebuilding process is, through my first startup, me and my team have been together for so long. We had such a trust.
Yeah.
That building that new team, while it wasn't difficult to find people who wanted to work with me, just because I had a reputation.
Right.
I had a network of people who already knew me and wanted to work with me. But learning your team dynamic and learning how everybody works is so different the second time around, because, I was so used to just being like, this is what needed to happen, and, I can trust my partners to go and handle it and work. So now, like, I have to learn that all over again.
Yeah.
You have to learn to trust people are going to get stuff done when they say they're going to get done.
Yeah.
You have to learn to know how different people work, what their temperament is, how they handle conversations, how they handle arguments. All that stuff becomes really important. And the second time around, if you're working with a different team, having to learn that can be that's a hurdle. That's definitely a hurdle.
Yeah, and another thing too, I know for me working with my team, like they're remote. Like your folks are more remote now too. You guys can't just chill out at each other's houses anymore. You're remote. So that's another layer of learning and management.
Right, having to do your meetings through Hangout.
Yeah.
Or, even with me and my old team, we would meet through Hangout often, but like if we wanted to just meet up somewhere and sit down and talk and have like, a 5-hour discussion to bang some work out.
Yeah.
With my team all over the country now, that's not as easy to do.
Yeah.
So, and managing everybody's schedule and everybody's time, at this stage in life, people have significant others, they have wives, they have husbands. Some people still have their full-time job, this is their side project. Trying to manage all that within the team and the team dynamic, as the CEO, that's really my job. And learning, and there's a learning curve to that, when you're so set in your ways of how things work for your first or your last project versus your new project. You can't run your new project the way you ran your last project.
You better not. Or you didn't learn anything, And that's the measure of success for real. That second time around, and looking at what the lessons again learned. I keep saying learn, but just, you know, the ups and the downs of it all. But it's tough too to kind of brush yourself off and get back out there, especially sometimes if you hold on to what didn't go right with the first one. You know, that's another hurdle I find being an entrepreneur. I don't know if you felt the same thing, like letting go of that, just or it's going to hold you down and not allow you to move forward.
I definitely felt that, like, letting giving go was probably one of the hardest things I've ever had to
Yeah.
do.
It's your babe. Yeah.
You know, like you said, that's your baby. It's the thing you've been working on and nurturing and putting all your energy into realizing that, you know, things weren't going the way we had hoped.
Right.
I did take some time off. You know, I took a few weeks off where it was like, I don't know what I'm going to do now. I don't know what to do next, because you're so used to having meetings setting up, responding to all these emails, having this daily routine of what you do for your company, to now it's like that doesn't exist anymore, or, you know, it's slowing down. What do I do now? And what I found was starting, and this is one of the cool things about starting a new venture, is the reinvigoration I got, you know, the excitement, having that excitement again. Oh, I don't know what's going to happen. What are we going to do next? You know, I can't wait to see this come out. I can't wait for this to be finished. You know, I haven't felt that excitement in a while. It's been quite some time since I've been that excited about what I was working on my project.
Right.
So, and granted, you know, that excitement is just part of the newness.
Yeah.
You know, everything's always fun and exciting when it's brand new.
It's fresh. Yes. New territory.
You know, you're definitely going to have those down periods, and that's going to come. That's going to happen. But just to feel that reinvigoration was actually helpful. Was very helpful for me.
Yeah, because you also believe in what you're creating. You're hype about it.
You have to. You have to believe in it, or else what are you doing this for? Like, if you don't believe in what you're doing or have passion for what you're doing, then you need to figure out what you really should be working on.
I know. I know. So how do you balance, like, this new schedule and life and all of that? Just how do you balance it?
Well, that's like a work-life balance question, huh? The work-life balance as an entrepreneur, especially an early-stage startup entrepreneur, is so tough. Like, because you have to dedicate so much time to your project. Like, there's just a certain number of hours you're gonna have to dedicate to this thing to make it work. But then, you know, you still have your personal relationships, you still have your friends and your family, you still have the things that you want to do, your hobbies, and know that this is just as an entrepreneur in general. A lot of those things are going to suffer, and you're going to have to pick and choose where you want to put your time. And that's never an easy thing. That's never an easy thing. It's never an easy thing whether it's your first project or your last project. You might better understand how little time you're going to have your second project through, and you can be more realistic about it. Because, you know, in your first project, you're like, oh, sure, I'll be able to figure it out. You know, we can work through this. I can still go out every weekend. Not so much. Your second time around, you already know how many hours you personally can put in, how much you will and will not get. And being able to schedule things becomes easier because you know yourself better. But it's still a tough thing to do. It's still tough to do.
Yeah, it is. And even just not even the mental part of not being in your business. Like, you could be out with, like, loved ones and still have your smartphone and checking the smartphone. You know, so I know that's a challenge for all of us. That is a challenge, but yeah, that's the balance right there, to be present wherever you are. But there's such a drive behind it. There is such a surge of energy and excitement, and it doesn't feel like work because it's such a part of you.
Right. It's just, like you said, it's part of your everyday life. You eat, breathe, and sleep your project, your startup, your venture. It's just, it becomes a part of you.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's a good thing, but I guess too when we talk about the second time around and lessons learned, I mean, have you found time to turn the phone off? Are you doing that now?
Um, I'm better at it. I'm better at it. So I'm better at being out with my friends or
Yeah,
being out with my girlfriend and being able to put my
yeah,
phone down and not be distracted by the flashing light on it telling me I just got an email or I just got a new
yeah,
message. I'm
yeah.
getting better at it. I'm not
Okay.
gonna say I'm the best at it. There's still work to be done there, but I'm definitely better at it, and I'm better at managing people's expectations of,
Oh
my
yeah,
me going out socially.
right,
I don't feel as bad anymore as I used to when I tell people I can't go out. But now, there's a time I felt like I was neglecting my friends or,
right.
I wasn't doing, I wasn't being a good friend. But now
Mhm.
it's like, no, this is my project. This is what I want to make a livelihood out of, and I just have to put this
Right,
work in. And
right,
so when I have time, I will make the time for everybody. But when I don't,
right.
I just need you to understand and support me. Just keep rooting. Because the
Yeah,
louder you root, the
exactly.
harder I can work, and the harder I can work, the sooner I can get to that finish line.
Exactly. Yeah, and just like understand who you are, you know, just having them understand who you are as a person too is significant.
Oh yeah, they all understand now. They all understand.
Oh my gosh. Yes, because even the sleeping through the night, if you're sleeping through the night, I know we used to Facebook message and all of that at all hours, but I can't do that anymore. But I know you're still up.
Well, it's funny because me and some other entrepreneur friends joke about that. Any time of day, you can
Yeah.
send one of us a message and somebody's up. It doesn't matter what time of day, somebody's up working at any
Yeah.
given hour of any day.
Yeah.
But that's part of this lifestyle, and that's also been another thing about starting a new team. Rebuilding.
Yeah.
I was so used to having a team that already knew that. We
Yes.
were
Oh,
we
that's a
were
good
used to the
point.
startup life. We were used to
Yeah.
working these crazy hours. But now I have a new team, and some people are new to working on a startup. Some people are new to having their own
Uh,
project. So they didn't anticipate how many hours this was going to be, or how much work there was going to be,
mm,
or the expectations that people would put on you. You go to an event and you have investors come up to you and start talking to you and want to, start giving you advice. And they're like, well, we haven't even launched yet. We don't even know when we're going to launch. And we have investors talk to us. What does that mean? It's like, well, it doesn't really mean anything right now. They want to get to know you and see what kind of
yes.
entrepreneurs we are. But having people on your team who haven't gone through that before
Yeah.
definitely makes a difference, and being able to manage their expectations and let them know and help them along the way of understanding, like, this is what it means to run a startup, this is what it means to work on a startup,
Yeah.
this is what it means to put in these kind of hours, this is what it
Yeah.
means where you're going to have multiple roles, you're going to do things you might have never
Yeah.
done before, you
Yeah.
know and just putting all that together within your team. That's, like I said, it's a learning curve. It's a learning curve for everybody.
Yeah. And I hadn't thought about that. But yeah, I think that too, we're so accustomed to this grind. It's like startup life. I mean, the things you were just talking about, like the hours, be ready for this and that. That gets me hyped. My heart starts racing like, yeah, like, ooh, it's gonna be all this energy. But that's a little scary for some people. It's like the wild, wild west, of entrepreneurship. It really is. It's a great camaraderie though, and something. It's like I feel like it's an honor to even be in the loop with all of this and be able to contribute to it and have a product at this time to grow.
I have to agree.
Yeah.
It definitely is, and it's an amazing thing. It's an amazing experience, whether
Yeah.
it's your first project or your last project, your third, your fourth, your fifth project.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing to be part of the community, to be building your own project, to be
Mhm.
working on a team, to meet new people, to learn new
Mhm.
things, to have
Mhm.
new experiences. Like,
Yeah.
that's why I started another project. Like, the
Yeah.
experiences I got from my first project, I there's nothing in this world that can compare. Like, I
Yeah.
can't put a price on that.
Right.
So, it's an addiction at this point. You know,
Yeah.
I got the bug. I got the entrepreneurship bug, and a lot of us do.
Yeah.
And so it's just you got to keep going. You know, when you talk to most entrepreneurs, if you ask them what's their biggest regret, most people will say, "I wish I started sooner."
Ah.
That's
Mhm.
probably that's probably like across the board one of the biggest things for most entrepreneurs is going to be they wish they started sooner.
Yeah.
Because the sooner you start, the faster you learn. The faster you learn, the faster you
Yeah.
get to that finish line.
Yes. Indeed. And then when you know we talk about the entrepreneurship bug and creating a product and growing. Part of that too, I think, for a lot of people with that learning curve, which I think you guys already understood it going into it, but making sure that there's scalability with your venture, you
Yeah,
know, and
definitely understanding what kind of venture you want to build, whether it's going to
right.
be a lifestyle business or a venture-backed business, or two different things. You know,
Mhm.
knowing your market, knowing what you're building, knowing who you're building for, you
Mhm.
know, knowing what you want out of the project, and letting your team know that. You know,
Yes.
nobody going in to build a lifestyle business is just something that's going to pay your bills and you're going to be happy with. When your teammates think
Mhm.
you're going to build $1 billion idea, you know,
Uh,
you want to make sure everybody's on the
yeah.
same page.
Yeah, definitely. The whole
But that's
expectations thing.
Yes, expectations is a huge part of, starting your startup and letting everybody know. Letting everybody know what kind of equity you're going to split, how you're going to split it, everybody's responsibility. Having all that stuff outlined early
Mhm.
just helps everything move smoother going forward. And,
Yeah.
you know, building your team and starting second time around, while there's the fun and enjoyment and excitement's there, you gotta understand you're starting over. So there's a lot of things you gotta learn again. New people to learn, new ideas,
Mhm.
new connections. Don't just try to rely on your reputation or the things you already know.
Yeah.
You gotta go in, start fresh. I like the saying, what got you here won't get you there. What got you
Ah.
to this point won't get you to the next point.
Yeah. That's
You gotta
real.
be ever growing, ever evolving, and just gotta keep working hard, everybody. But I think that's about all the time we have for this week.
Okay.
It was great to talk to you, Christine. I really
You
appreciate you
too.
being here,
No problem.
and I'll have another vlog for everybody this Monday with my usual co-host Kate. Please feel free to send us some emails with some questions, things you want to learn about, any questions you have for me. And if anybody wants to see Christine back again, please let us know. She's always here. She's a friend of the team. And all the rest of the information will be in the description below. Have a good day, everybody.